Rico Dowdle, monster game on Sunday, over 200 yards rushing, third highest in franchise history. This dude was running berserk, but you have to give a lot of credit to the offensive line. They paved the way. We're going to talk about today what went into this offensive explosion in the ground game for the Carolina Panthers and Rico Dowdle specifically. We're going to look at the film in this video just to break down some of his best runs from that day on Sunday. We're going to look at how productive Rico Dowdle was on Sunday. Look no further than this offensive line. One of my favorite stats to look at in terms of how productive an offensive line is yards before contact, and in particular, yards before contact per attempt average. And the Panthers, they racked up 4.12 yards before contact per attempt. Yes, 4.1 yards before the running back was even touched. That is the third highest single game total of all the NFL, any game that's happened this season. So just a remarkable set of production from that offensive line to take advantage of a pretty sorry Miami Dolphins defense. But I don't want to take anything from Rico Dowdle either. When you look at his yards after contact, he got 169 total yards. If you just took what he did after contact, it would still be higher than any running back in the NFL this week. Just a remarkable set of production, really a type of Ashton Genty kind of stat from college. Pro Football Focus has him down for 8 missed tackles for us and 6 explosive runs, something that the Panthers have been looking for all season. Again, they were efficient at being good at getting enough to stay on schedule, but they weren't ripping off those chunk runs until today. And a lot of that had to do with their switch up. They're a zone running based team, meaning they do a lot of the mid zone. They do a lot of the inside zone, some outside zone as well, build a lot of their play action off of that just to get these guys moving, get some vertical push. In that standpoint, a lot of teams have been catching on to that because that was their bread and butter last year when Chuba Hubbard ran for over 1,000 yards with that new and improved offensive line. Teams make adjustments over the offseason. So the Panthers counterpunch during this season was to come back with more gap scheme. I like to look at gap scheme versus zone blocking scheme as when you're going against a certain defense that's aggressive, that has one gap, they like to get upfield. You can use a lot of gap scheme stuff to use their aggressiveness against them, get your body in position to get leverage and blocking and turn guys and get movement there. And you can really make a statement by being physical. So it just varies depending on who you're going against. So teams have been attacking the Panthers very, very aggressively in their zone scheme. So Dave Canales did a pretty good job of just sprinkling in some gap schemes just to offset that and keep the team off balance. If you look at Rico Dowdle's totals according to PFF, he had 11 zone blocking carries and 11 gap scheme blocking carries. And them being 50-50 is interesting to me because if you look at the past, they hovered at about 67 to 68% zone blocking over gap scheme blocking. I think the interesting approach to this is even though Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard seem to be on paper similar type of running backs, guys that can rip off some explosive runs, does a good job of maximizing what's blocked by the offensive line, can hit the hole hard and make things happen, may not be the long speed type of home run hitters, but could be a very, very quality back. They still have different styles. Chuba Hubbard is more of a downhill, hit the hole with force type of back. He's almost turned himself to more of a power back compared to what he was in college. Rico Dowdle is a little bit more patient. He sets up those gap scheme and those pullers a little bit better and hits the hole with great timing. And I think that's finally what the Carolina Panthers figured out. And with Rico Dowdle being the featured back, they can lean more into his style of running instead of putting a square peg in a round hole, which it seemed like Rico was a little bit uncomfortable with in the first couple of weeks of the season. So let's hop into the film room, man, and check it out. I talked about the Carolina Panthers using more gap scheme type of runs, but zone is still their bread and butter. And even Rico Dowdle recommended and requested some inside zone runs. And this is what you're going to get here for his first big run they're going to look at. You're going to get combo blocks on here. You're going to get, they're kicking out here. Going to get a great block from Xavier Legette. They're going to combo up to this linebacker. They're going to combo up to this linebacker. He's going to hit it here. He's going to set it up perfectly. They're going to leave this backside edge unblocked. And he shows great patience to let this thing develop and really hit it with good timing. Cuts back, boom, sets it up, just gets it on the horse. Runs through contact, maintains the balance with great contact balance, and a big chunk run to really get the offensive line. Look at these fists in the air. Look at those fists in the air. The offensive line can't help but get hype when your running back is turning like that. Let's break it down here one more time. So you're going to get a combo block like we talked about, combo block here, and just look how they get movement. Look at, let's run it back. Look where the line of scrimmage starts. They're here on this line of scrimmage here. Watch where they move this Dolphins front. Look, this is 1, 2, 3, two, 3 yards of displacement right here. A yard and a half of displacement here. We got guys bent over here. They're already climbing up to the second level. Just good movement at the point of attack. And look at this block by K Mace. He's going to help with a double team, but peel back, get a nice piece of this linebacker, lay him out. There's guys diving at legs. They can't get to Rico in time. Split the double team, man, and hit it really hard, man. This is just phenomenal work because the running back, he's reading on inside zone. He's reading this block. If this guy goes outside, the running back's going to cut back. If this guy goes inside, he's going to keep it going outside. He sets it up by pressing the hole, gets north and south. K Mays gets this guy and knocks him off balance before he lets him go from the double team. Brady Christian does a good job here getting this guy sealed off. He hits it. And we're off to the races. Big time run here by Rico Dowdle, showing great patience and feet to get through that hole and get through the secondary run with a purpose. Let's get on to the next one here. All right, so let's check it out. Another inside zone here. Going to cut it back all the way against the grain, get north and south. Shows a little bit of patience and even finishes the run with authority. There's a flag on the play, but it's holding on them because there's not much they can do because they're getting comboed and getting up to the second level so fast. So I think the thing that we need to talk about is Jimmy Horn Jr. Him going in that speed motion, having this element where you have to respect this little quick jet sweep. It's going to free some linebackers and get them into position as well. You can see that them just having that eye candy makes them hesitate for a split second. And again, watch the displacement here. The ball is here. The ball is here. Watch where they move this line of scrimmage and get it upfield. Boom. I'm going to pause it right here. Look at the cutback. They're 2 yards down the field. This is easy pickings for any running back. When you're able to get this amount of yards before you're touched because they're blocking like this. Again, this is inside zone. They're comboing here. This is your read. You're going to read this guy. If he goes outside, you're going to cut it back just like he does. And this is a pretty easy, blatant read when you have dudes walled off like this. When he gets the ball, this is what he's looking at. He could hit that hole right here, but he sees Taylor Moton has this guy walled off backside. This edge rusher is playing for the play action just in case Bryce Young boots out here. So he's kind of in no man's land, and he hits it with the purpose, getting north and south, look untouched for about 12 to 15 yards before anybody tries to punch at the ball, man. What's a great job by the offensive line, walling these guys off, getting a tremendous push at the point of attack. So let's get to some of the gap scheme stuff. And when you have these long runs like Rico Dowdle block, I have to shout out the wide receivers because you're going to have to get downfield blocking on the perimeter to be able to spring some of these. And I'm going to shout out Xavier Legette on this play to start off. But this one is going to be long trap. So what you're going to do is get a double team here. You're going to get a down block here to this linebacker. These guys are going to cut off this backside, and you're going to get Damian Lewis. He's going to kick out. You're going to leave this guy unblocked. Again, these penetrating aggressive defenses when you want to run this gap scheme stuff with. They're going to invite him upfield by leaving him unblocked. And then they're going to kick him out, and Rico Dowdle is going to get right up in that alley that opens up for there. It's going to be blocked perfectly. This is exactly how you want it to look. Boom, make contact there, get to the second level. Another chunk run, explosive run. Let's get back and see all the key blocks of how this came together. So again, you're going to get a double team here like I talked about, muddy it up, cut that side off, and then watch Damian Lewis come around the horn. Boom. Great technique. You want to get outside shoulder. Look at that outside shoulder making contact. If you're running, if you're pulling to the right as a puller, you want to hit them with your right shoulder. That way, if you make contact and you miss, he has to go around you. If you miss on the outside trying to block him, he'll just slip inside your block and go Rico Dowdle. But if you're going to block this guy, you're going to the right, block with your right shoulder. That's my coaching point for the day for offensive line. I'm not a professional. I'm just a former running back. But again, to get these long runs, look at this block by Mitchell Evans. It wasn't great, but he did enough to wall him off. Xavier Legette is in phenomenal position. You want to put your back and your butt to where the ball is coming from. That way, the running back knows exactly where to go. He's got his hands grabbing on the jersey a little bit, but they're not going to call that when you're in great position. And so this is just a tremendous way to hit the hole by Rico Dowdle. He gets up to the secondary, makes a move on the safety and gets tripped up, gets taken down from behind by the guy that Mitchell Evans should have blocked, but it is what it is. We'll still move like that. But it's another chunk run again, just a gap scheme type of run, different style from them, using this big offensive line to really push guys around, make contact, hit these guys in the mouth, and really get downhill, man. So this was the biggest run of the day for him. This was coming out in the second half, 53-yard run. And this is what the beauty of having a guy like Jimmy Horn Jr. in the lineup is going to do for you. You're going to try to run, we're going to run a toss out to the outside here, but they're going to fake the action to Jimmy Horn on a jet sweep with the quick motion. And watch how the motion affects these guys. They're following him. They bump just a little bit. You see 20. He's following Jimmy a little bit. You see 25. He motioned inside because, look, he was initially lined up outside. Here's Brady Christensen. This guy is outside of Brady Christensen. So if they try to run a sweep and Brady's trying to go get him, he's going to be chasing him and might not be in position. But the fact that we run Jimmy Horn Jr. on that motion and we snap it while they're in motion, he takes that step inside. That gives Brady Christensen the outside advantage to go get that man because of that motion. And so now you got a down block from Tommy Tremble to seal the edge. You got Taylor Moton pulling around to get this guy. And again, Brady Christensen climbing up to the second level, and let's get money because Xavier Legette is going to get a great block up here as well. And boom, it's going to get north and south ASAP. Now that you have the edge cut off, he's going to hit it without getting touched again. Look at these blocks, man. You got hats on hats. You got guys cut off. You got bodies on the floor, man. This is just a beautiful alley here for Rico Dowdle to get downhill and hit it with speed. Good job by Brady Christensen just boxing out like a basketball player. Xavier Legette is still driving his man. Breaks that one tackle. Now get to the sideline and do what the good Lord taught you and run for his run. Big time explosive run by Rico Dowdle, man. And that's how it's supposed to look. This is exactly how you want it to draw up. Again, this is just bad Dolphins technique as well because they're being block magnets and not getting off blocks. But this is what happens when you continue to run the ball and lean on these guys. They don't want to get off blocks. They don't want to hit the running back multiple times. They're going to give up 200 yards. And again, you got these guys sealed off. You can see it breaking open easy. Rico gets downhill. I'm sure his eyes are big as all get out. He gets downhill. It's a big time run for Rico. That's how we need to mix things up when we get both our running backs in the lineup with Chuba Hubbard and Rico Dowdle, being able to keep the team off balance. When they want to overplay you in the zone scheme, you can go with these gap scheme runs right here. Use the jet motion and speed. Give them some eye candy and some misdirection to pay attention to. And again, look at that cutoff block by Brady Christensen that the motion allows him to get up there to get in position to cut him off. It's a beautiful thing when a plan comes together. This is how you draw it up, man. Big time chomp play right here. They really made a statement coming out of halftime for the Panthers to really make this comeback win. So the biggest question will be when Chuba Hubbard gets back, how do they balance that backfield between Rico and Chuba? Chuba obviously is a 1,000-yard back last year. He has great chemistry with this offensive line, and he needs to get the ball as well. But Rico has made it very, very clear that he needs to be involved, and using both of them is a good problem to have to keep fresh legs. I'm excited about the prospects of how they balance this gap scheme and the zone scheme and how each running back has a different skill set when they're in the game. It looked like it could be trouble if this running game could get going and really get this team moving in the right direction.